Hi.
Oh, good. I heard all of our claps that time.
Hi, diddly ho, neighborinos. I'm Paul, and this is Insert Adjective Here podcast.
Week number 3.
Hi, Paul.
Numero treso. Joining me is Zach. How you doing, Zach?
I'm good. I've prepared my diddly hole.
I'm glad I'm aware of the circumstances you're recording in. And also with me is Lou. How you doing, Lou?
I'm doing good.
Cool beans.
Sweet.
That's 2 doing goods
All right,
there.
so let's jump right into this because I've been thinking about this all week, and I finally have words to say about it.
Oh, man.
I don't like Destiny, and I know why.
Gasp.
Because it's bad. No, for reals.
Elaborate.
Open world games. For reals, open world games, because I was trying to get back into Breath of the Wild this week, and I have the same problem when I try to get back into Skyrim or Fallout or whatever it may be.
And what
I
would
get
that be?
so burned out on open world. I get so burned out on open world games because I feel like I have to do all the side quests before I beat the main game. Now, hear me out as to why. I'm not a completionist, but I'm one of those people that I know if a side quest is out there, it drives me nuts knowing I didn't do it, and I find absolutely zero value in doing them after I beat the main story. It's zero value whatsoever. Yay, I beat a game. Why do I need to go and get a better weapon just to continue to go to other side quests and get even better weapons? That's just useless for me. So I like to go and do all the side quests and prep my character up and do all of those before I go to any main story missions. So I'm just completely overpowered for story missions. So I get really bored like 80 hours in. I have all the side quests done and I just have no motivation to go back and do the story.
Well, then you're doing it wrong.
Probably.
All right, counterpoint with Lou, because you're stoked on New Destiny.
What do you? Where are you trying to lead me here? I'm not following.
I'm just saying.
Well, Destiny's a little different because it's like the MMO thing,
right?
But there's like 4 hours of story missions, and then the rest of the game is literally the exact same for what really seems to be no apparent point other than just getting more weapons.
I mean, I totally understand where you're coming from because, like, I'm the exact same way with most open world games. I will marathon them hard, like do 60 hours in 2 weeks or something, and
right
then like I just can't pick it back up because I feel like it takes too much time, or like especially if I've already beaten the story mode, I don't really want to go. I guess I'm just not that kind of person when it comes to games. I don't really want to go back and rehash over something that I've probably already looked at for story mode missions, just to have like find a random little sparkle wrench that spawned in because of this side mission, and I need to collect all 8 sparkle wrenches to return to the fabulous mechanic or something. And it's just, it gets tiresome. Like that's something that it was Fallout, I believe, that they like preached that it's an unbeatable game because there's always more side quests. And what that boiled down to was the same stuff in a different skin and establishing new settlements. And I appreciate what they're doing, always having something to do in the world, but you just get burnt out on it for sure. So that is like one of my main concerns with Destiny coming out. Like, I know it's going to be an awesome game, but are they gonna?
How burnt out are you gonna get?
How burnt out am I gonna get? Because this will be my first Destiny game that I actually, will own and get to play, because I didn't have it on PlayStation before. But yeah, I'm just concerned because like even in Borderlands, which I hear is fairly comparable to Destiny, it they have like the zillions of guns or whatever, because there's so many randomized parts. But I've been burnt out on like Borderlands before, just because of the same reasons I stated. It's just like a lot of side missions, but also the story mode getting completed just pulls any I don't know, energy I have for that game.
Yeah. And Lou, I'll give you a chance to rebuttal here, but I want to use Skyrim as like a big example, and I'm sure Paul will be able to relate to it too, being a Skyrim fan. You know, when I played Skyrim for my first time going through on PS3, I got to the point where about 40 hours in, I liked to do a bunch of grinding and side quest stuff. I had at that point dragon scale armor, a dragon bone bow, and like 400 dragon bone arrows. So I was completely decked out. And then I just rushed straight through the story mode and I did everything. I had no problems because my bow at that point killed dragons in like 3 hits. And after that, I had zero interest in going back to the rest of the world because why? What was the point of exploring that cave? What am I going to get out of it that I don't already own on my character?
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, I definitely get that. Like, you get to a point where you feel like you've beaten the game in a personal sense, if not even in the full game sense. Like, you got the ultimate set of armor, and you're like, well, now I'm not striving for anything. Why do I want to keep playing in this universe when there's millions of other games to try out? So
Well,
I
Exactly.
get like that ADHD when it comes to long games like that. Lou?
Mhm.
I think it comes down to what you think is fun about the game and what really makes you keep coming back. Like if you I don't really get the comparison of throwing Destiny in here because it's not like a Skyrim, it's not like a Fallout. It's more of a shooter. It's more of an MMO shooter than it is an open world exploration game like Fallout. Yeah, there's exploration to it. Yeah, there's hidden things to find in the world. But it's more, mission. It's more mission based. It's more story based than just going out and exploring. I mean, it's hard to say, but it's just not in the same categories as a Skyrim or a Fallout. It's a lot more. The exploration is usually how, at least for Destiny 1, that was how you would get the lore by finding, the little like hidden areas or like hidden, like you would find these dead ghosts. Like the ghost is your little, AI companion follower guy that spits out some witty remarks here and there. And so you would find dead ghosts throughout the world from other guardians and stuff, and it would give you Grimoire, and then you would go read the Grimoire and find out your lore. Now, you will get, with getting more story through the missions. It's I don't know, because I don't know. It's hard to explain how how it is different. Where you got your different modes, you got your different things to do. Like it's not you just run around and go find a mission in the open world. And then you do it. It's not like a quest like that, like a Skyrim or a Fallout, where it's like you got to jump between planets. Like Destiny 1, like you'd always end up back in orbit, and you'd go and you'd start an activity, and then you'd do that activity, and then you'd be back in orbit, or you'd go to the social space, like the tower, to get your bounties, and things like that, where it's kill this many of this enemy, or do this certain kind of thing, and it gives you a little a little boost. But I don't know. I can't. I can't have. I just feel like Destiny's not falling. It doesn't fall in right with Skyrim and Fallout and those open world games because it's not. It's not truly open world. Is what I'm saying.
Yeah.
What I was about to say is that I think in my mind it compartmentalizes with them, not because they have the whole open world aspect in common, but that a lot of them rely on repetitiveness. But like I said, I don't have a ton of experience with Destiny 1. I just know through friends who would say that the game is like just a lot of grinding. I guess if you go the MMO route, that's obviously what it's going to be. But they said like they would play the same area. It's like dozens of times trying to get this one legendary loot drop. And I know that's not really an intended part of the game, but it sounds like it might be a thing that you can't really like separate from the game if you want to have any of that MMO presence and like actually have fun with it and not just get wrecked by people who do that sort of grinding.
Well, it's
yeah, and that
go ahead, Zach.
Okay. I've played it, and Lou was actually with me. I played it on his PS4, and I think I've beat the story. If not, I was maybe one mission away, Lou. And you can correct me if I'm wrong, but we got through most of it in like 6 hours. And I'll vouch for Destiny in that the shooting was great. I loved the idea. I liked the jetpack. I loved flying around and shooting. I thought the bosses needed some tweaking to them, and some of the MMO elements needed some tweaking to them, but I thought the foundation was there. My issue is I'm concerned for Destiny 2 if it's more the same. I wish it would do like a Titanfall 2. That story was phenomenal. It was great and held
Well,
up
that
on
is
its
how it's going to
own.
be because Zach,
And
what you played through was original Destiny. And
yeah,
like I had been saying before, the Destiny 2, they really improved upon the story and made it more like the expansions for Destiny 1 were.
mm,
Where it was a lot more focused because the original story of Destiny 1 was pretty discombobulated and it felt like nothing really, it didn't really fit, things that it was hard to tell what really mattered. So yeah, the Destiny 1 original story was pretty bad. So that's and then but then they added all this content on afterward that really made the game what it is. So it's
mm,
hard to judge Destiny 1 by that original story, which is what you had played. So I'm not really worried about how the story is going to go. I'm assuming that it's going to be amazing. And I mean, as far as Paul, the grinding for the kind of the MMO aspect, I mean, yeah, you grind to get your level up, but there's always the goal of, hey, I need to reach this this level. I need to reach this light level to be able to take on this the next activity, like the end game activities, the raids. That it was for those kind of things. Or if you're into
Oh,
PvP,
okay.
you'd be getting your light to as high as possible for what's either Iron Banner or Trials of Osiris, which are like the end game PvP modes. So it's mostly gearing up, and then with the expansions, then mostly there would typically be an increase in the maximum light level. So then you'd be working to maximize your character again. That add different armor and guns and things. So you'd be getting the new weapons, and they were always changing and tweaking the sandbox with the weapons to make it to balance everything out. So they're always really on top of the gunplay and everything. So there are always different things to do. It never really felt like actually just grinding. Like I'll use an example. Like in RuneScape, when you're trying to get your wood cutting level up, you go around and just start chopping down trees, and you're just chopping down trees. Doesn't I mean it never felt like that. Like you could always do different kinds of missions and different kind of
Okay.
things. You could do strikes if you liked doing strikes. You jump into a strike playlist and keep playing, and it would. What they eventually did by the end was they changed the system of loot drops to where it would go off of your current light level, where the loot that you would get would drop around or right around or above your level, so that you were constantly getting something that was a little bit better, a little bit better, a little bit better. But you could do it in a lot of different activities. You could do it through PvP. You could do it through strikes. You could do it through nightfalls. You could get it through raids. There were always a
Okay.
lot of different ways. And now with Destiny 2, they're adding a lot of other kinds of activities like adventures or different areas to explore where you would find them in the world. It would be like basically like a dungeon. Almost like you'd find this lost area or something, and there's going to be a boss at the end that you fight, and you find out the lore about this location along the way. So I mean, I'm not really worried about any kind of grind in Destiny 2 because I just think of it as playing the game, and if you enjoy it, it doesn't even feel like it doesn't feel like a grind anyway. If you enjoy the game and you enjoy the gameplay and the world, it's not going to feel like a grind.
Okay. I'm glad I'm getting this perspective because, as I keep saying, I have zero, well, almost zero, like experience playing the game, and I've had just one or two friends pretty much like tell me it's a grind, but then it always confused me when that's the only way they describe it. But then put in like 6 hours every single day on the game, because they made it sound almost a little negative, but then they're still playing the game so much every day. So it didn't really add up in my head, like, why they'd say, oh, this game isn't too fun, but I'm going to spend every free minute I have playing it. But it makes a lot more sense when you describe it like that, Lou, that, like, why that they'd still be interested in playing it and why it's so much. I mean, it's like a cultural phenomena, essentially. It's like, I'd compare it almost to the Halo of recent years, like how Halo was just so huge. I just know like Destiny is just everywhere.
Yeah, and even playing through the beta of Destiny 2, I was on with buddy of mine. I was on with D Tweeds the other day, and I was getting his opinion on it, what he thought, and he said, well, it feels a little more like Halo this time around. So I thought that was pretty interesting. I mean, hey,
That's kind of exciting.
It's Bungie, so
Yeah.
they know how to make their shooters.
Cool beans.
So so I mentioned RuneScape a little bit ago in one of my analogies, and that's actually currently what I'm playing as we are recording this podcast. I got back into it the other day, decided to download it after watching Critical live stream for a while a couple nights ago, and I was just like, oh man, I remember that game. I didn't know that was still available to do the old school RuneScape, so I was like, heck yeah, might as well.
Either.
And now I'm back in, and it's probably going to take my time away from doing other things. But there is some news that they actually had just released recently, which I was pretty surprised about. Jagex, I guess, is they're the ones doing it, but they will be releasing RuneScape on the mobile platform. So guess what? You'll be able to RuneScape all day long, no matter where you're at, because you'll be able to do it on your phone or tablet or whatever mobile device you have. So you won't have to waste any XP. So that'll be coming winter 2017 is what they announced. So a lot of my friends from back in the day, when we played RuneScape a lot when we were a little younger. It's probably a big thing. Maybe if I can get some buddies back into it, get a clan going, and
I'd be
so
down
get back
for
into
that.
rolling RuneScape.
Nope, I can't do it.
Uh,
I can't do MMOs, or I just said I can't do open worlds or MMOs, man. I'm out.
I normally can't do MMOs, but I'll make an exception for RuneScape because I played so much the first like big wave RuneScape had, where every single person was playing, and everyone as soon as they get home would hop on and you play online with like 10 of your friends at the same time. So
oh yeah,
I might
I played with Ed back in the day. I think I played with you too.
probably.
I remember playing with Ed, and I think I kept trying to hit him and kill him, and then he got mad at me, so I stopped playing.
Some people just
Whoops.
don't do MMOs, and that is me for the most part, so I totally understand.
Yeah, I mean, it's in the end, it comes down to what kind of gameplay you find fun. Just like what you're talking about with the open worlds, like with the Skyrims and the Fallouts. It depends on the gameplay. A lot of times the game will come out and the gameplay will be fun for a little while, but then it gets old. It's more like a novelty. The current, like open worlds like that, like the Bethesda style open world games, they've been done before. You've played them before. So after you get through the story things, it's like it seems like more of the same, because it's basically what it is. It's the Bethesda style open world game. And you know what you're going to get, and it just comes down to how much fun that is for you and how long you can draw that fun out.
Well, here's the thing. Fallout 3, I can go back to and play all the time. And I think the big thing is that they have a level cap. So I know that no matter how much grinding I decide to do, which is pretty hard to do in Fallout 3 anyway, but no matter how much grinding I do, my character is only going to get so good. And all the way the special stats and everything were done prior, and how all of the perks used to be before 4, they had much more weight on the type of game you could play. So I could go back and feel like if I changed up my special, my experience would be completely different. So if I went back and just put everything in luck and charisma, I could probably talk my way out of almost every mission that there was. Whereas if I went through and did more in strength and all those things, I could shoot my way through them. And I just feel like that kind of element has been lost a little bit in some of these newer Bethesdas, and that's all I'm saying.
Oh,
I love them
totally.
all to death. They are all great games, but Fallout 3 for me is the one I can go back and say, yep, this time I'm going to go and do charisma and just try to talk my way out of
Well,
everything
you
and
could
not
do
fire
that.
a single
You could do
bullet.
that in Fallout 4. I mean, it just depends on how you want to play it. You're not forced to spend all your points. You're not forced to elevate things and other skills. You can play through it however you want.
Well, that's
But I just
that's
think
definitely
I think it's the
the
way
most
Bethesda made it
widespread
though.
criticism I've seen of Fallout 4 is
Yeah,
your initial um, point allocations for all the charisma, strength, whatever. Uh,
they
it
don't mean
really
anything.
is much less apparent and useful and relevant than it is in Fallout 3. That's like I've definitely noticed that, and like I've even seen several web comics where like someone answers something and kills someone because they had the intimidation tactic or whatever, and then they're like, "Oh, I wonder how that looked if I did it with persuading them," and they go back and reload, and it's the exact same outcome. So pretty much, what I feel in Fallout 4 is that you just unlock basically different cutscenes and slightly different dialogue. You can't alter the story that much, like as you can in
No.
Fallout 3.
But
It's just
that's not as much a criticism of the gameplay as is how the game and the story. That's how that's set up. So
yeah,
it's not so much a criticism of how the game is fundamentally played, because there's still
well,
all the different perks and things. You can still take your different paths, but it's just that they don't lead to a different outcome. So it's not a
Yeah,
fundamental gameplay critique. It's a kind of like more of a critique
but
of what the developers did to differentiate the outcomes.
well, it is a bit of the fundamental though, because that's how Bethesda designed it. In that, and I think we can all agree the dialogue system in 4 was absolute poop compared to 3, because 3 had it
yeah,
right, and even 1 and 2 I can go back and play every now and then. It's a lot more dialogue heavy, and I prefer 3 in the first person view and all that. But I think the 3 had the best mix for me, and my dialogue changed outcomes. I could go back to Vault 111 and talk to whoever became the, or was
101.
it 111 and 3? 101, that's right. Vault 101, talk to the whoever became the dictator and talk him out of it. I don't really find I have that much of an option in Fallout 4. It's usually just, okay, I'm going to end up having to kill someone. I can't go and talk to them and try to change the story, or at least have more of a positive outcome for certain things. I never felt like my decisions, especially when it came down to my special and the allocation, really mattered in
Yeah,
that game.
Yeah, but again, that's not a fundamental gameplay thing. That's how it was. It's a critique on how they set up the story to where they didn't let you really
well,
alter it that
I
much.
I think I totally understand where you're coming from, Lou, as well as you, Zach. But this the I think it's more the way they set up the story in the past in like Fallout 3, it really felt like they wanted you to choose your own adventure, which is a totally different type of game. It's like a choose your own adventure book versus reading just a normal novel, where they had this entire story and they said this is how each thing's going to go, and you do have a little leeway, but this is how it's going to go. Whereas in Fallout 3, you really had the liberty to change the story fairly drastically.
Yeah. It's more of the story critique, to where Fallout 3, you could you take your you can take whatever separate paths to get to the end, and it's three different endings basically. Whereas in
Right,
Fallout 4, you can basically take multiple paths to reach the same end result.
right. And it's just I think it hit so many people so sourly because that's what made a lot of people fall in love with Fallout 3, and it was such a huge component that people feel like having a more set story that you can't really affect as much, it's kind of like taking out a major feature of what was so great about Fallout 3. At least that's how it felt for me, um, when it came around. Like I really liked Fallout 4, but it definitely felt like it was missing something, and I think it was the fact
Right.
the
Yeah.
whole choice
It was
thing.
to where, yeah, it was to where they changed it from Fallout 3 was more of that RPG, where you were role playing, whereas
Exactly.
Fallout 4
Mm-hmm.
there's an actual main character with his own story, and it's pretty much set. The story is pretty much set, and you're just kind of playing it out. So it's more of like an adventure game
Yeah.
than an RPG.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a
Yeah. Yeah,
excellent
I
way
just
to
felt
put it.
like none of my dialogue choices or those decisions
Right,
carried
right.
any weight. Like I could go back and do all four of the dialogue options to anyone and get the exact
Yeah,
same
and
result
that's
at
what
the
I'm
end of the
saying, where it's
conversation.
more of an adventure game where you're following a set story as opposed to an RPG where you're taking your own path that you decide on.
Right. Yeah, that's I mean, you can just Google Fallout 4 decisions, and the top results are Fallout 4 decisions don't matter, and like it there's just so much stuff talking about how the decisions don't matter, and it's it's like honestly not, it's not like they 100% don't matter. It's just when their weight gets reduced, it throws a lot of people off pretty much.
Yeah.
Um
Yep, I agree.
but yeah.
So what else you got this week, guys?
Yup.
What's that?
So what else you got this week, fellas?
Um, well, I have been playing Kingdoms and Castles. Um, it's a game, a city building game, inspired by SimCity, of course. And I don't know if you guys know the game Banished. It was an indie game that came out a few years ago. City building game as well. Banished was really fun, um, but they went a little hard on the difficulty to the point like you'd be doing well and then everyone would die in a winter because you were doing well. So it's like each year they would up the difficulty, but um and this
Like
is
good
all
Oregon
while I
Trail.
believe it was, I think I was still in beta when I was playing it. So this may well have changed and it's also a few years old. But essentially each year the difficulty would increase slightly, 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 then a huge jump and everyone dies. And then your town's dead and you start a new one. And it was like it was fun enough up to that huge jump point that I played it I played it through like to that point many times, but it just kind of, I mean, that obviously wears down. Where we were just like talking about how much a game can just get boring through repetitiveness. So yeah. But anyway, back to Kingdoms and Castles. It's a super simplistic city game, which definitely appeals to a more mainstream audience. I have a whole lot of fun with it. I love the graphics. It's voxel graphics, if you guys know what that means. Um,
Mm-hmm.
it's like probably my favorite art style for video games. It's I don't know, it just really like the bright colors, everything comes together really nice. And it's just so smooth and well put together, especially for, I believe it's, okay, no, it's not early access, never mind. But it's still a super fun and smooth game. The main threats you have to defend against from the outside are Vikings, which will come to a random side of your hamlet or castle or whatever, and sometimes they'll have ogres in the higher levels, and those guys will target your archer towers and things like that. But then there's also dragons that'll fly in, and I believe they target more um, food resources. So if you have a granary for storing food, they'll target that and try and burn that down. And that actually becomes, I'm like still learning the game for sure. I think I only have 6 or 7 hours on it, but I got it 1 or 2 days ago. Um, but it's a lot of figuring out how to fit everything and pretty much section off uh, your entire town castle thing into manageable sections. Like you need to make sure you have enough food storage places for all the surrounding fields and orchards to get their food in time before winter comes, because otherwise all that food just goes to waste in the fields. And the years go by really quickly. Like I think on my current file I'm on year like 160 or something, and it's only been going a few hours. um it's fairly fast
Wow.
paced, I'd say. And it's not like I prefer it over SimCity. It's not like getting into the whole nitty gritty of making a sewer system and taxing different parts, different things, and figuring out why traffic isn't working. And that's what makes it like super attractive to me. Just it's its simplicity, really, and it's just really fun to play. Hop in, and then like add some to your town, and then you can just head out. It's definitely not like a civilization game where you just need to keep on going. You can just like hop in, hop out. So it's a lot more casual too. And yeah, it's definitely worth. It's only $10 as well. It's got like the perfect price point and really fun. I don't know really what more else to say about it.
So it's almost like a between SimCity and Civ kind of a
Uh,
mix. I've
I
never played
mean,
Civ, so I don't know what kind of scale civilization is,
I,
but
I wouldn't really say it's like Civ because it's not turn based or anything. I'd say it's more the in my opinion the closest game to it would be Tropico. I played a whole lot of Tropico 4, um, and just in the way that it's simplistic design. Um, but even this one is more simple than Tropico. Uh, it's if you guys are looking at it now, it's pretty much all that meets the eye. Very boxy, block based, makes building a whole lot easier. You learn pretty quickly what designs don't work when you have like 100 people die from the bubonic plague or starve to death in a winter or something like that.
so it's like playing God mode in a Minecraft world.
Yeah. It's like the overview version of that, and you're just smiting testificates.
Haha.
Hmm.
So
But yeah, if it's
what's the poll rating on the poll rating system? What do we got?
well, ooh man, let me invent a rating system real quick. Uh,
From one to potato.
from one to potato.
From
Oh man,
would you give it a tomato?
I'd call this a sweet potato.
Ooh.
Oh
Ooh.
yeah, this is a solid game.
Hmm.
Like if I had to first impressions rating it out of 10, 8.5 out of 10. It's just super fun, has me hooked, and I honestly probably won't be playing it for like 200 hours unless they add a whole lot of stuff. But for a $10 game, I feel like I'm getting my money's worth already, and I am enjoying it. So
Awesome. It's always good to hear.
Yeah.
all right.
Is it my turn?
Zach, what you
Zach's
got
like,
going on there? I know you're I know you got something you're waiting to spill
I
out
can
over
hear
there. You've been a little
I can
quiet.
hear the
So,
You're
finger
ready to burst. Let it flow.
finger TP of contemplation going on behind his microphone.
I have had the unique pleasure of playing 4 games this week. One of them I don't want to talk about for very long because it does not deserve to be talked about very long, but I just have to. I played Loading Screen Simulator this week. And
Excuse me?
it is it is exactly what it says it is. It is a loading screen simulator to which you can click a button that says earn money and you can buy like 8 things from a shop. That is it. That's the
All
entirety
right.
of the game.
Oh my.
So it's like is it like an idle clicker kind of game?
Yep, but there's no point and it's stupid and I hate it. Don't even look at it. Just
It sounds
don't.
like you just don't appreciate true art when you see it, Zach.
I mean, they're just is this like Frog Fractions 3 or something? I mean, am I missing something here because it's just crap?
I wouldn't be
it's
able
a
to tell
free
you.
game, right?
It is free, but even at that price, they owe me money for playing it.
I mean, I don't
Yeah.
know.
I think they owe me some money for sitting through 20 minutes of this.
You sat through 20 minutes?
Yeah, I was expecting something to like Soda Drinker Pro, where it turns into another game and like that's the joke, or Shower with Your Dad Simulator that does something similar. I'm thinking, oh, cool, this is maybe something else is gonna happen, and nope, it's just a loading screen.
Well, it sounds like you should read the titles of the things you do.
Yeah. So that was a game I played this week.
Well, I'm sorry that you're calling that playing.
Yeah, I shouldn't even call it a game. that was a screen that unintentionally took up space on my monitor.
That's what my computer processed for our 20 minutes this week.
Yeah, my poor computer.
I'm thinking of
I need to
building a
replace
new
all
one.
my parts now. Yeah, starting from scratch. A piece of crap. Anywho, another game. I've already played it since we started this podcast, so I don't want to talk too much about it. I really just kind of want to rub it a little bit in Paul's face. Paul knows why I've been playing this game, and it's more Dark Souls 3. And Paul and I are working on a nice little video that'll hopefully come out eventually. But I've been recording a lot of boss footage for Dark Souls 3. And Paul.
Yes.
I wanted to tell you that I beat the twin princes, Lorien and Lothric, on my first attempt on New Game Plus.
Ooh, I'm sick. I'm just so good at this Dark Souls game.
And I beat the Soul of Cinder on my second try. And the only reason I didn't beat him on my first try is because I was backing away and got stuck on wood.
Well, that's just a rookie mistake.
Right? And then I beat him on the second try. It wasn't even close. I had like 8 Estus left or something.
Wait, what did you
Holy
get stuck
crap.
on? I didn't hear. You cut out.
There's
Just got stuck on blank space.
The anticipation.
There's some obstacles in a lot of the boss rooms. So I got stuck on like wood, and I guess it was a broken shield or something in the ground. And I should have dodged and I would have broken right through it. But I was backing up and I'm like, I'm stuck. And then I just got blowed up.
I don't mean to brag, but I'm kind of the king of doing that in Overwatch. Any tiny little like urn on the ground, I'm backing up and it just stops me, and then it's like 3 people just shooting at me, and it just never ever ends good ever, except for that one time. But yeah.
Nice. And then I told Jess I would talk about her in this podcast too, just to keep it going. And she has been binging Pokemon Alpha Sapphire.
Oh,
how are the remade Pokemon games? Because I have not really seen too much of them.
So good.
I mean, Ruby and Sapphire were, that's my second favorite generation. But
they are
Gold, Silver, Crystal, of course.
Oh yeah,
definitely the best Pokemon games out there on the market.
No, it was the original generation because they didn't run out of ideas. They only had garbage Pokemon and Pokemon that looked like Pokeballs. But those were good ideas.
And ice cream.
Jingle jangle keys.
Gold, Silver, Crystals. Oh man, those were so good.
Oh yeah. Those were. I'd have to say like Pokemon Gold was probably my first video game addiction. My first.
That's how Paul and I became friends.
Yeah, we sat next to each other in first grade. I go, I like Pokemon, do you?
I said,
and
yup.
Here we are like 20 years later.
The rest is history.
That's actually pretty much the story.
Yep.
Oh, so yeah, Jess has been playing Alpha Sapphire, and she killed Kyogre. I don't know why, but she did.
No, she made him faint, Zachary.
No.
You don't kill
She was
Pokemon,
using-
alright? Jeez.
I'm pretty sure she was using a Pikachu and thundered him to death. So that guy's dead. He is gone.
Zach's like, I hear what you're saying, but
But
she pretty much fried that son of a bitch. Like
I'm gonna
that
let
thing
you
is
finish,
dead
but-
dead. Like it wasn't
Yeah,
moving.
He's gone. Yeah, he's gone. He's been fried. And then
So what did she do after killing this god?
I just went about like it's a normal day.
For some
I
reason,
asked-
it wasn't raining. But
Well, see, Jess doesn't know much about Pokemans, so she killed this thing, and I asked her, I'm like, "Oh, did you find the legendary Pokemon that was on the box?" And she's like, "I don't know which one that is." So I said, "It is the one thing in the entire game that the entire story leads up to." And she's like, "Oh, that big blue thing. Yeah, that one, Jess. I killed it." I'm like, "Well, what are you doing now? Like, did you restart it so you can catch it?" And she's like, "Nah." And then she told me, I said, "Well, are you gonna try to
Just,
beat the game or
whatever.
something?" Because yeah, I was like, "It's a useful Pokemon if you're trying to beat the game." And she said, "I just want to get the 8th badge and then quit." I'm like, "There's an Elite Four you have to go through." And she's like, "Oh, really?"
She's like, no, I don't really have to.
Yeah,
You can't
yeah,
make me.
she's kind of burnt out on it already, but she thinks they're cute. So that's something.
They are cute. They're so cute.
They are adorable in the new games that are all in 3D, Lou. They are adorable now that they're not sprites.
how does Whalmer look? Still round,
Huge.
huge.
They still look like just a little bowling ball with fins.
Yeah.
He looks a little bit better than that in the new ones. Although the size
don't believe
proportions are a little obscure.
Well, it is supposed to be like, a whale, so it should be large.
True.
Well, yeah, but when you have two Pokemon next to each other and he's only like 3 times the size of my Pichu, something's wrong. That's a small whale.
Man,
But, yep, she's been doing that. And then the
Alright,
last
so-
game.
Yeah, the fourth thing.
Yeah, so the big one, the actual new game that I can recommend and say, hey, go play this. Pyre. Have either of you heard of Pyre? Pier.
Not,
Pooper.
nope.
not until you told me to look it up like an hour ago.
What'd you think when you saw it?
Alright, so I'm like super stoked to. I don't know how this slipped under my radar, but I'm super stoked to like get in on this game because I see it's by the people who made Bastion, which
Yep.
was like such a cool game. Just like
Yes.
they totally reinvented like how to tell a story with that
Mhm.
whole like live narration. So you could die and it's like, but the kid didn't just have it in him, and stuff like that. And also it's the same people who made Transistor, which isn't a game I've played, but like it's a game when like if Reddit has a thread for what's your top game of all time, you can't escape this Transistor game because it's just so highly praised and people love it so much. So
Mhm.
if they somehow screwed up this game, I don't know.
They
I
didn't.
might flip over a car
Nope.
with
I
my
can tell you.
right hand.
I can tell you they didn't. I have not beaten Transistor or Bastion. I've
Right.
played a little bit of each.
Okay.
Way back when.
I don't know what either of
But
those
I-
games are.
So this is a big PC gaming studio, and I don't want to get the studio wrong. Hold on, it is Supergiant. That's right. So Supergiant Studio, and they are known for their visual style and their soundtracks.
Yeah,
No matter
definitely.
if the game can be absolute terrible, which it's not. All 3 of those games are incredible, but if you have that visual style and that soundtrack that they always have, it's a good game. You're in for a real treat playing a Supergiant game.
Yeah, just
And-
forget about it.
Yeah, Empire
Alright,
is no
so-
exception.
So Pyre, so I haven't really looked at much. I've seen maybe 3 pictures and read about 4 words. So if you could explain to me and any listeners that maybe haven't heard, explain a little about this. What is Pyre?
So I don't want to say it's like Bastion or Transistor, but it is similar to that in it's very narratively driven. So almost anything I say can be a spoiler. but just know that it is a super giant game that is on par, if not better, than its two predecessors.
Ooh,
The
boy.
gameplay is tight, it is solid, and the
What
narrative
kind of
is
gameplay is
gripping.
what I don't know. Like, is
I
it?
don't want
I don't just you just gotta explain it, man. You gotta tell me
The
what this is.
gameplay
You can't
can't
just
be
leave
a
me hanging.
spoiler.
to. I will.
Because anyone can
I
go and read
this
what
is
you're
gonna
gonna
be
say. So
Yeah.
fair enough.
Party-based
It's
RPG.
Yeah, it is an RPG. It is party based, and there's tons of characters to choose from.
okay,
Oh
And
boy.
the majority of the gameplay, there's a lot of nuance to it, and it is a lot of RPG and things you can do. But I think a funny comparison I saw was to that of Rocket League. There's a ball or some orb in the middle, and you are trying to essentially get it into your opponent's goal area.
is it turn
That's
based or
that's
real
basically
time?
it. It's real time,
It is real time.
and you control. It's little mini like soccer basketball matches type thing, but a lot
So
of RPG elements and a lot of strategy.
so similar to what's that? What was it? Super Mario Smashers or something like that?
Strikers.
Strikers, yeah, Strikers. Super Mario Strikers. So it's like that. It's hero based soccer.
Kind of, not really. I was comparing it more to Rocket League in that you have like these special moves and other abilities you can have that'll kill your opponents during the match to make it easier on you. It's just a big constant back and forth thing with a lot of RPG elements.
So like blowing up the other team, just like with ball bombs in Super Mario Strikers.
It looks
Yeah,
a
but they don't
lot
get-
like crap, a MOBA style combat.
yeah, I can see
Question
that.
mark? Like
I mean, that's kind of what I meant by like the hero based.
yeah,
Yeah.
I think that's what Lou was definitely trying to get at. That makes sense. Like
Yeah, I wouldn't call it
okay,
hero based. I wouldn't call them heroes, but they're essentially just trying to.
they are no heroes.
I mean, they're regular characters. They're not like heroes.
Well, that's what
Okay, cool.
any character is like that.
They are not Superman.
they're just called heroes.
They're just
No.
men's.
Just like, in Overwatch,
women's.
the different characters you can play as in Overwatch, they're heroes. They're called heroes. People you play as in
Yeah.
League of Legends, they're called heroes.
It's kind of a catch-all term anymore for anyone.
Yeah,
that
that's just a
does
catch-all for
anything.
character.
Yeah,
Character
I go
with- character
outside.
with
I'm a
special
hero.
abilities.
Did you know Tracer's gay?
Yeah. They I think they're really trying to branch out like as much of the heroes as possible, make them as unique and relevant to
Diversity is key.
yeah, because Symmetra is autistic, Tracer's gay.
They're putting autistic characters in games? That's something I've
She's
never heard
been
of.
in the game, but
They're just saying she's autistic. She doesn't really do anything that would
yeah
probably promote anyone to
see,
think
that's-
she's autistic.
that's the kind of thing that it feels like it's kind of forced. Like
Mhm.
I can totally understand sexual preference, but like because like that doesn't have any qualifiers or anything that would make that person like, oh, that's definitely a lesbian. But like when someone is autistic, autism has like
You can
so many
generally
social
tell.
things, but also I can't speak on the comics and stuff because I haven't read the comics, so I don't
That's
know.
where it all is. It's all
Yeah,
in the
I
comics.
don't know if in the comics Symmetra is written autistically, for lack of a better way to say it, which
You're so
sounds
sensitive to
bad.
the issues.
But yeah,
Okay,
they
Trump.
there's certain things that I wish that game studios wouldn't bow to these PC culture loudmouths. Essentially, like there was a whole thing about when a new May skin was released, she looked a little slimmer, and there was this backlash of like all these people saying like, "Oh my God, why are you fat shaming by making May skinnier?" and like things like that.
Oh
But
my
first
God.
of all, she's always wearing a big puffy winter jacket, and the only reason she looks skinnier is she was wearing like a small like I'll call it a slim Oriental garb, essentially. But if they it's like it was some glitch in the game that it was just easier to make her slightly skinnier than it was to fix the bug. But because of the backlash, they had to fix the bug because like they demonstrated why it wouldn't work and it would cause like a bunch of clipping and everything. So they're like, well, we just bring this in an inch. So yeah, that's I mean, I understand they want to be all inclusive and stuff, but when it gets so petty and ridiculous as complaining why a character looks slightly skinnier in a different skin, it's a bit much in my opinion.
I think Lara Croft could have been a dude, and the game would be even better.
As long as he wears that same sexy ass outfit, I'll raid that tomb.
I hope everyone knows I'm kidding, and that I hope the new Breath of the Wild DLC actually has Zelda as the main character, because I think that would be really cool. Just putting that out there. That was a joke.
Wasn't Sheik Zelda? Sheik was Zelda in
Ocarina of Time.
Smash Bros. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm talking like a true playable Zelda narrative. I think the DLC you will be able to play as Zelda.
Oh, dang.
I think.
I thought you were able to play as Sheik in
Breath of the Wild, it's just like a female Link, right?
Hyrule Warriors?
It was Ocarina of Time. I don't know why I couldn't place her in that game.
Why did you think you could play as her in that game?
Because I've never played it.
Wait.
I've never played it like through. I had an emulator on my phone one time, and I got kind of far, and it crashed, and I'm a quitter.
Huh. Maybe this would be a bad time to point out that Dylan's actually been going through and replaying Ocarina of Time, and I told him once he beats it, he can come on and we could do like an hour-long spoiler cast just talking about his time with Ocarina of Time and me shitting on it.
That's funny because I know Dylan doesn't play video games. He plays the trumpet.
He only knows how to play Ocarina of Time, and I asked him
if he video games. He plays the trumpet.
I genuinely asked him. I said, "Would you ever play like a different game or like a Zelda game? Like, why? What made you? Why do you want to only play Ocarina?" He said, "Because I know how to beat it, and I can beat it in like 15 hours, and I don't have to learn anything new." That was his only reason for playing it.
I mean, he knows what he likes.
That's called sticking to what you know.
Yeah, I'll give him that. If anything, he's consistent.
Yeah.
So we'll get Dylan on here and talk that, and I've also have Jeremy trying to get through Undertale. Because I would love to just talk Undertale for an hour.
I still gotta.
I could talk Undertale for days.
As many times as you've told me, dude, you gotta play Undertale. You gotta do it, and I'm like, yeah, I'll do it. I still haven't done anything to do with Undertale at all. Just
all right,
the same way.
I'm too preoccupied with RuneScape now, man.
No,
I play good games like RuneScape. God.
How dare you say that? Oh, jeez.
I might pick it up next month because I have a mandatory 31-day leave from work because thank God for North Carolina laws. Yeah, if you work part-time, they have this 31-day leave. So essentially they don't have to pay you any benefits or health care or anything. And also you have a forced month off of work, so you got to figure that out.
Oh,
it's really dumb, but like I knew it was coming way in advance. So last summer I worked my tail off with like 17-hour days just to stock up in my bank account so I could just chill for a month, pretty much.
Nice.
Which I mean, it could be worse. I'm just like living at the beach for a month.
Nope. Now you're playing Undertale for a month.
Right.
Now you can make content for the channel for a month.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
I got a cat last night. Adopted a 1.5-year-old cat. Her name's Smokey.
Did you really?
Yeah. She's really shy right now. She's just hiding in the corner from me. But like, I can go over and pet her, and she purrs and stuff. It's just like the whole moving thing. But yeah, I have a cat now.
Congrats.
Thanks. I know she's been moving around a lot today because I came home and there's like all this shit knocked over in my room.
Yeah, they'll do that. I found paw prints all over my counters and stuff when I came home from work when I had Peachy.
Yeah, that's why I'm keeping her locked in my room now, also to help her acclimate faster.
Yeah,
She
they'll do much
loves
better
watching
in one
my
room.
aquariums.
There you go.
You better watch out for your
Yeah,
fish.
man. You're gonna come home. There ain't gonna be any fish left in your aquarium. It's just gonna be a bucket of water.
I'll be surprised if she can replace my aquariums with just a bucket.
Okay, a tank of water. Jeez, let's get technical here. Why don't we?
Okay.
But what kind of projects we got working on as far as some channel content? Any videos any other videos we got working on here?
Well, I alluded to a Dark Souls video I'm working on that, I'm getting a lot of boss footage for reasons that I need Paul to collaborate with me on that may involve some sort of countdown.
Well, my excuse is that I was like thinking about it on Friday, but then Ed came down for the weekend, and then I forgot about it up until the beginning of this podcast.
Nice. And then I might do a quick Pyre review, like a quick 5-minute video, spoiler free, and do a review and just make it known how awesome this game is. So hopefully get around to that sooner than later.
All right.
Nice.
As far as myself, I'm still doing editing on Destiny footage because I did just add some to the as far as the Destiny 2 beta. I just did add some footage because Bungie had the farm, which is the social space, opened up for 1 hour on Sunday. So I believe that was Sunday. So that was pretty cool. Got to run around and do some parkour in the social space there and check out where all the vendors are going to be. There were no vendors in there yet. They had the day off, as Bungie said. But it was just a test for them to get a feel of how many players they can handle in the social space, like how it would handle having actual players online connecting in the social space there. So pretty interesting to see. I'm curious to see how it happens, like how you get there, how that social space comes to be, how the farm comes to be, whether it's fleeing, whether you find it, whether you find it through a mission, or how that happens. So that'll be, I'm sure that'll be really, I'm sure Bungie will do it in a creative way, and I was glad to see that open up for a little while. But it was cool, and it was only for 1 hour. So if you weren't home and online for that 1 hour, it was only open from, I believe it was between 1 and 2. It was open and then it was closed. And it was pretty funny. I did see on Twitter, because I was checking out what everyone else was doing in there on Twitter, and it was like later at night. It was like 5 hours later, and there's people that are like, "I'm still here. I never got off because if you stayed on, you can still be in the farm. I want to be the last one." So that was, but it's nice to see them do that. A little bit more taste of what's to come. So look for that on the channel within the next few days here. I'll get that up. Still a lot of editing to do there, but
Sweet.
Yeah.
Cool beans, man.
I still gotta do episode 2 of Elder Scrolls Online. Got to get back to that. That'll probably happen this weekend. This past weekend I've been really busy. I've had hockey games all weekend. I played 6 games this weekend from Friday to Sunday.
Did you?
Holy crap.
I had 1 on Friday.
Better than marriage prep.
1 on Friday, 1 on Sunday, and I had 4 games in a tournament on Saturday. So I've been busy.
That sucks, man.
Dang.
But it's better than marriage prep.
I would imagine.
The first 18 hours, including the 8 hours I slept, were not bad. The next, 30 hours, I wanted to jump out of the 3-story window, even though I know it wouldn't kill me, but more than likely just break many of my bones. That seemed worth it.
But then how would you be able to run away?
Well, I figured if I landed on my face, I'd be unconscious, so that seems like a win.
And then you'll wake up back in the room.
That would be my luck. They'll tell me they'll call an ambulance after the weekend's over.
By the way, you're married now.
Yeah, it was a long weekend. So that's why I didn't have any content to put out earlier this week. I was stuck in a halfway house in the middle of the ghetto. I was actually not too far from you, Lou. I was in South Side.
Oh man.
Yeah.
Where was it? Where was it at? What location was this?
St. Paul's Retreat Center.
No, never heard of it.
Do you know where the Cadoba is on
Yeah.
in Southside? It was half a mile from there. Half a mile.
Half a mile.
Yeah, it was half a mile away from
like
there.
right on Carson Street.
Yeah, I was half a mile away from Carson Street. I was a little further into the suburb
Up the
neighborhood
hill a little
area.
bit.
Yeah, I was pretty much at the top of the hill. There's a church up there.
Yeah, there's a lot around there.
I saw some trees once.
Yeah.
Hated it.
Too green for me. So yeah,
Right.
I think that might do it for us.
Yeah,
here.
that's
We
all.
actually talked about
That's
video
all I got
games
for this week.
I'm proud of us.
Didn't
We
talk
actually
about
talked video
whales'
games.
feet.
Hey, they're real, man. The title of the podcast said so.
You right.
I know I'm right. Even though I didn't go to college for it, I know I'm right.
Let's avoid jumping back into this. We made it this far.
Yeah.
I'm gonna write a letter to. I'll write someone on
To
Shark
whom?
Week. I'm sure
Jacques
someone on
Cousteau.
to someone on Shark Week because I'm sure they know something about whales, and I'll get some proof.
Send letters to Michael Phelps. Michael Phelps was all over Shark Week.
Yeah, I missed that. Did he win?
He beat the reef shark. He lost to the great white.
Well, I would think so. I would think he would lose to most sharks.
He beat the reef shark though.
Can he beat a whale?
I don't know. It depends. How big
feet?
are its feet?
Yes. Can Michael Phelps jump out of the water into space?
Yes.
I don't know. His
Okay.
feet might actually
What?
hinder him from jumping out of the water.
Oh dang.
See,
All right,
I think
so
the whales.
topic back on the table.
All right.
We're bringing this back
we'll push
out.
We'll push this next week.
That's how we're gonna start next week. Is arguing Michael Phelps versus the whale.
Of course.
So,
In a
so get
jumping
excited.
contest.
Uh,
Next week, marine high
Awesome.
jump.
In other news, we'll wrap up here in a second. I'm looking at Paul's list of the top 10 Dark Souls bosses as we go through it, and so far none of our answers are the same. I think they're almost in complete opposite order.
I feel like we
We have
we
some
might pick
debating
our
to do.
list on different reasons.
It seems we've reached an impasse.
Impossum brew.
Pink one is right.
All right.
All right, guys.
Alrighty, I
Anything
think
else?
that about does it for us. Yeah, I think that about does it. You guys can, if you enjoyed the podcast, remember to leave a like, comment, subscribe, all those good little things. I'll make sure to put a little end card thing, which failed in my last video, but I mostly blame my editing software for not working the way it wanted to. So yeah, keep an eye out on some of the content we mentioned. Lou doing an Elder Scrolls Online video, doing some more Destiny 2 beta, actually getting some gameplay of that. Paul and I got that Dark Souls video coming out eventually. And then look out for a Pyre review when I get a little more into it and get through the whole story. Definitely want to put something up and get the word out on that one, even if it's only like 10 people that watch it, because we have like 10 subscribers. But that's 10 more people that I feel need to see this game.
Hey, check us out on all our platforms. Podcasts are all on SoundCloud. Got a lot of content that'll
No,
be
they're
coming
not.
up soon on YouTube.
I didn't put the last one on SoundCloud.
So are we not doing SoundCloud anymore then?
Oh, well, we should probably discuss this after the podcast because we have a set amount of time that we're allowed. We have a set amount of content we could put on SoundCloud unless we pay for it.
Oh.
And right now, I'm not paying for SoundCloud.
Okay. Well, okay, so SoundCloud's on hiatus for now then. So check us out on YouTube, which is probably where you would be listening to us right now.
Yep.
Check out our other content that will soon be coming to YouTube, and follow us on Twitter at IAH_gaming.
Also follow Paul's mom at WhistlePig Hollow on Instagram.
Whistlepig Hollow MD.
Oh, sorry. I was close.
Yeah,
We'll see if
close
we can get her
enough.
up to 10,000 subscribers. That would be or 10,000 followers, whatever it is on Instagram.
Yeah.
I don't Insta chat or face Twitter, whatever it is. I don't face twat.
FaceTime or instant chat.
Yeah, that
You
thing.
kids.
Wow, Zach, you're born in the 40s, aren't you?
You're darn tootin'.
Alrighty, well, I guess that does it then, guys.
Yeah.
Talk to you next week.
Yep.
Adios.
Bye.
I love you.